this is not so good news, but here we go. This is what's happening in England. So, government pledges to increase religious influence in state schools. The government has announced that it plans to change the law to help religious groups open more state funded schools in England. The proposals appear in the latest Department for Education white paper, Opportunity for All. The paper also sees the government announce more financial support for religious authorities to academize. I read that word earlier and I was like, oh my God, I've never heard it written like that. Anyway, Humanist UK has expressed alarm that religious groups are earmarked for this special treatment. Explaining the subsidies and plans for more. Anyway, this is like a long thing. I don't want to read it to you. But basically, why this is important is because the week before, you shared a survey or something with us about the UK and Scotland as well, and how Scots were getting less and less religious. And
Young
it's the
Scots
same.
were like, yeah.
Exactly. And it's
crazy
pretty much the
percentage.
same picture in the whole UK in general. So, Humanist UK is worried. Why are they worried? Well, if enacted, these proposals will mean that more state funded faith schools will open, perversely at a time when religious observance is in decline, as we discussed, right? And as you showed us. Furthermore, it paves the way for greater segregation due to faith schools being able to discriminate against children on grounds of religion in their admissions policies. Such policies disadvantage the non-religious, ethnic, and religious minorities and the poor. So they also said that they're going to tackle that, and they're going to make sure that every decision is made in the best interest of this child, especially the most vulnerable, like children in need. But again, Humanists UK are saying this is problematic because this doesn't refer specifically to faith-based admissions. So it would be crucial that any reform to admissions procedures also removes the ability of faith schools to discriminate against children on grounds of religious background. It is hard to see how the system can work in the best interests of children without tackling this. Exactly. So, okay, yeah, and then this is about Ofsted. But yeah, this is what I wanted to read to you guys, especially because this is really pretty much echoing what you showed us, Haris, and what I see generally living here, and based on like the figures, the stats, the surveys, the censuses, everything. So Humanist UK, the education campaigns manager, Robert Can, said, and very aptly put, he said, "It is bizarre and grossly unfair that the government is going to increase the role that religious groups can play in our children's education. It runs contrary to our increasingly non-religious society." Exactly. Moreover, faith-based discrimination leads to segregation in communities. So we are hugely disappointed that this may now get worse at the taxpayer's expense. We will lobby against these changes to ensure that pupils and families receive fairer treatment in school admissions. They announced consultation on admissions reform may give us an opportunity to campaign vociferously for the removal of all religious selection in schools. So, yeah, I'm really glad to see Humanist UK being concerned and their pushback on this, because again, it's just so unnecessary at a time like this where you and I we were literally getting excited that people are identifying as being less and less religious. And this is England we're talking about, right? As one of the countries, as the pioneers, based on the last conversation you were having. And yet we're having to bear the cost, and the government's deciding that this is a priority, more state-funded religious schools. And again, then you have all the issues with segregation and things like that. But shameful, because England we're on a better path than this. Do you know what I mean? We should be.
If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone!